There should not be one billionaire in America. None. And I'll tell you why. Because there is nobody that works hard enough to earn $1 billion. And my argument is this. The 2 jobs I did in my life that were physically the most demanding and mentally the most difficult that I ever did paid me the least amount of money. One was going through buds, and I challenge any billionaire to put up with 6 weeks of that at $62 every 2 weeks, you know. And the second was right before I went in the Navy. I had a job with the Minnesota Highway Department, couple bucks above minimum wage. I worked for the bridge crew, and you know what my job was? I worked a 4-day work week, 10 hours a day, so I could have Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the weekend. You're 18, of course you're going to do that. But I worked 40 hours in 4 days on the bridge crew, and guess what I did? Ran the 80-pound jackhammer. I challenge any billionaire to run the jackhammer for 40 hours 1 week and tell me he works harder than that. No, he doesn't. That's why I believe there should not be a billionaire in the world.
Former wrestler and Minnesota Governor Jesse the Body Ventura was preaching here. The video is courtesy of Fandom's Potlight on TikTok. Ventura wouldn't be done, though.
Let me make this statement. There shouldn't be one billionaire. There should not be one person worth $1 billion. And I know that's shocking hearing it come from me, but the older I get, the more flaws I see in capitalism and the more good things sometimes I see in more socialism. And let me explain on this. What can one do to earn $1 billion?
Once more, he would go over his days running a 90-pound jackhammer and follow that rant up with this.
And you're telling me that these billionaires who are now doubling their money, doubling their wealth, that they work harder physically than someone spending 8 to 10 hours a day on a jackhammer? Bull crap is what I got to say to that. They earn their money by pushing pencils, and they don't even need to use deodorant because none of them ever sweat, I doubt it, at work. There should not be a billionaire, and I'm going on record to state this. Everybody talks about a minimum wage, a minimum wage, a minimum wage. I say it's time for a maximum wage. How about $12 million a year, $1 million a month? If you can't live on $12 million a year, $1 million a month, maybe we should bring back capital punishment. Well, they already have, haven't they?
This is one of the best dialogues I have heard in quite a while, yet there's more, and it comes from Haas. And hey, just a quick break in the action. You should go subscribe to my new show, The Rick Strom Show. I'm going to be interviewing people from sports, music, journalists, authors, sports doctors. It's going to be fantastic. Please go subscribe. Thank you.
He is an incredibly stubborn guy. I mean, dude, you're talking about a guy who was a Navy SEAL, who then, went into professional wrestling, became a governor. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. Like, he's just the GOAT. I also think he's the type of dude who do you think he could be president? No. Unfortunately, America's not ready for that, okay? But the reality is, I would vote for him if he actually ran for president. I don't know. I feel like he is like our Donald Trump. He's like the leftist Donald Trump, I guess. You know what I mean? If there was ever one. Like a really unique dude with a lot of psychotic perspectives in many respects, but also is like, his heart's in the right place overall. I don't know. He'd be great. Doesn't he have some conspiracy theory weirdo takes? He does, which literally I think would genuinely be a benefit. I'm not even kidding. I think that his weirdo conspiracy theory takes would make him relatable and would probably make him more likely to win.
Don't know if I would go that far or if Haas is talking in hyperbole, but it was entertaining. More from Ventura.
The numbers speak for themselves.
Were you high when you sued Chris Kyle's widow?
Was I high? That's a question, and I expect it from someone from Fox.
Just
No.
a serious question.
No, it ain't. No, it ain't, because I never sued the widow. I sued him.
Okay, well, she's suffering a lot of pain right
No, she isn't,
now. How do you know that?
because insurance pays for it all. She hasn't paid 1 cent. How do I know it? It's my case.
So you stand by that?
The case got overturned because the truth came out. Insurance is paying for all of it. It isn't costing his family a cent. That's the way legal works if you do your homework.
Would you apologize to her?
No, she should apologize to me for the lie that her husband told about me. Why would I apologize? I didn't do anything. You only apologize if you've done something wrong, Pat.
By the way, this is what it looks like when a troll is hired to represent what they call a news organization.
You and Hulk were once good friends.
Yeah,
What's the likelihood of that ever being repaired?
never.
Why?
Can't trust him. I'm not friends with anyone I don't trust. I have to have a trust with someone to be their friend. And he's the one that ratted me to Vince when I tried to unionize. I found that out under federal deposition when Vince was put under sworn, and he didn't hesitate at all. I told my lawyer the story, and in deposition you could ask about anything. And so I wanted to know who ratted me in the locker room, because there were no agents, no one from the office was in there when I did it. So it had to be one of the boys. And when my attorney said, Mr. McMahon, has there ever been a union in wrestling? And Vince said, no. He said, has anyone ever tried to? And Vince said, well, I think Jesse Ventura spouted his mouth off about it once before. And my attorney said, did you hear Mr. Ventura? No. Well, then how do you know he did? With no hesitation, Vince went, Hulk Hogan told me. And I didn't show any emotion, but I almost tipped over in the chair because he was my friend.
Of course, who could forget this as well? Now then, it goes without saying, in this capitalist system that we do live in, it's not about who does the work. It's about who can take advantage of others and throw them crumbs while you keep 98% of the cookie. That's what this is. And that is why so many Americans are fed up, but why they also continue to make the wrong choice. Because you see, we believe, as we are at where we are at right now in the year of our Lord 2025, is that you need to pick red or blue, when in reality, as I've said many times over now, it is about having class consciousness and seeing a working party unite amongst the people. We do not understand as a cohesive how much power we have. We truly do. You're seeing it with TikTok right now. There are people that are deleting, not just deactivating, deleting all Meta platforms. And it is, as has been reported many times over, the 3.5% rule. If 3.5% of society were to band together and take action against a company, against a provision that has been passed by withholding our attention, our eyeballs, our scrolling, then it can cause serious change. And I think with a lot of Americans downloading Red Note in an act of defiance is quite telling. But can we do it for a greater purpose than just saving an app? I don't know. But everything Ventura says about, I did the jackhammer, and I'd love to see Elon Musk do the jackhammer. Like, we know what would happen. The difference is he was born on third base, maybe even between third and home, by coming from a rich family in apartheid South Africa. And he used that money to leverage himself to being boys with Peter Thiel until Thiel kicked him out of PayPal because they couldn't work together. And then he kicks out other founders of companies and claims that he's the founder. This is such a rigged system for the rich. And I really, really wait for people to come together to say, you are not my enemy. the top 1% is, because truly at the end of the day, they are the ones that are making our lives a living freaking hell. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.